Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is David Palmer, the Leo King, and Craig Skidmore here on highvibe.tv for Deep Love Tarot, your weekly love tarot horoscope for this week of June the 8th through the 14th of 2020. If you've never watched the show before, it's brought to you by highvibe.tv. All the links are down below me right now, where, of course, if you download our app or go to our website, you can watch this show for free and lots of other cool shows for free, like spiritual dance music. We have new documentary series out, History in the Stars. We have Kim Tabay with all of her art. We have so many other awesome free shows. And then, of course, we have our exclusive content, like my daily video horoscopes and all my other exclusive horoscopes that are on there, and so many other amazing, talented, and just the coolest daily platform that you can get. All of your daily video horoscopes and weekly intuitives and everything all in one place, all on an app, all on a website. Check it out now, highvibe.tv. That's what supports us for doing this show for free and so forth.
For free.
And of course, I don't know if you've checked out yet my 3.5 hour horoscope about 2020 of what's next. It was recorded April 24th and it was going to go to the end of this year because I already had made lots of predictions up until the beginning of 2020, which I'm sure you all watched. But this video goes into way more, and we're already seeing it right now. So definitely, you're going to want to check it out. Go to the paid video section on highvibe.tv, the website. Once you purchase it, just log into the app on your login, and you can watch it. You don't have to be a member. You can just purchase the video and watch through the app, or watch on your phone, or watch anywhere that you've got the ability to stream. What's going on, brother?
What up? What up? What up? I guess when we start this off, we got to say congratulations are in order. Senor Leo King El Guapo is an uncle. So welcome to the world, Nathan.
Yes, Nathan Lyle Palmer. I just got to, first of all, I was going to say congratulations to my brother, but I want to say congratulations to my sister-in-law for
definitely
having a baby that was late like me, 10 pounds in labor for the last 24 hours, and had the baby this morning. And I got to give her all the props. Of course, I got to give props to my brother too, though, for pulling it off. And I don't know, it's very surreal, to be honest with you. I'm kind of in wonderland still, especially during this weird times we live in. You know, we couldn't go to the hospital or anything. So tomorrow I get to stop by my brother's house and see my nephews. So congratulations to them all. I'm still in awe about it all. And of course, you know, I've already ran the chart and I already know the astrology, and there's so many aspects hitting my chart from this beautiful soul that I'm like, wonder what I got to do with that situation. So, yeah, it's been a very, very intense day. So, a lot going on. I'm pretty overwhelmed, actually, with so many things that have happened just in the last 24 hours of my life. I'm just like, I think we all feel like that, though, with so many things in life right now. And so love, of course, that's a place that, you know, who knows?
I think that people are becoming aware of the love that's lacking in life, though. So I think that that is a plus. You know, if we do want to look at the plus side of things, you know, I think that people are realizing that there was a lack in love in certain aspects of their life, or maybe they weren't putting out love in the healthiest manners. So I think that is coming to light and might be a plus out of all this craziness. So,
you know, back in the day, I think it was like, maybe it was 4 years ago, somebody was trying to start just like a cuddle app for people that would just want to cuddle. I just feel like I'm at a place where I'm just like, who just wants to like let me cry into their fucking life and just like let me just lay there and just cry? I know that sounds depressing. It's just been so much. But I think you're right, though. I think that people see a lack, but I think that's the whole part of a Venus retrograde in Gemini is with a north node. I think people have to remember there's a north node here with Venus retrograde. When you got Rahu Venus, there's of course a lot of negative connotations to it, like, oh my gosh, I've got to have this, or, you know, sometimes it could become too, you know, foregoing for trying to get its desires and its needs and its wants. But when Venus is retrograde with Rahu, I was saying it months ago that it would be like Rahu would get a little angered because Venus was coming towards Rahu, North Node, in Gemini, and then retrograded. So it's almost like, oh, you're coming towards me? No, you're not. There's like that whole, and now you're going farther away, you know, energetically. The goddess has just disappeared. Remember, she has been burned out by the sun and still in the darkness. So there's a dark night of the love soul happening in our environment and our mind. And I think people are finding lots of weird different ways to try and find happiness and so forth. And it's definitely sometimes it's unhealthy ways, sometimes it's healthy ways. It's hard to kind of determine in Gemini. We have to almost go through a lot of different angles of ourself and our mind and our processing of it, our environment, our, you know, there's a lot of questions. I just want to say the last thing though about this North Node Venus retrograde is that I would say that the positive side is it does kind of force you to face reality checks with what factually makes sense. And with that retrograde, it is going to like show you, yeah, this does not make sense. This does. And then there's that whole, you know, are we still continuing the 18 months that we went through of blocks? I think Mercury's trying to help us understand that. And we're all really, I think, removing blocks right now. But it becomes frustration. Some people are farther along with removing blocks. Some people are not. So it's almost like a maze right now. And Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man aren't meeting up. And there's ghosts chasing them. So, if you've never watched this show before, this is where we're going to do your weekly horoscope. Of course, we're going to do it for love and with the tarot. We're going to do it with the collective first, and then we go into all different 12 signs by choosing from the High Vibe Red Cup. I use multiple different decks. Today we're going to use the Golden Tarot as our what's happening. Our challenge is going to be the Black Moon astrology cards. The Illuminati Tarot is going to be our outcome. The way that we get through that challenge, we're going to use, I haven't used this for a minute, the Botticelli deck, and then I have a couple different decks over here that I'll use as the clarifying ones. So, of course, we have the Astro Dice too. And I don't know if you saw, I added a little props here. Did you see the props I added?
I mean, are you talking about the license plate that's right there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
There we go. That's from like 1987 or something like that. And then I got a little lion there. I'm
Yay.
doing the best I can to bring
Yay.
happiness into my life.
Woohoo!
Yes. Of course, we're in the chat with everybody the whole time. And like I've said on many shows, I just cover a very light part of the astrology here and do more of the tarot. I do more of the tarot, of course, with deep astrology and, of course, on the app. So make sure that you join. I say we go into this collective reading.
Boom.
And there was something that I was actually looking at in the chart that was kind of blowing my mind. And even though that's what I save it for deep astrology for, it's one of those weeks where I'm just kind of like, wow, I don't know what to tell everybody. We are coming into a wild frontier that we all have to prepare ourselves for, because this is the sun in Gemini and it's going to square Mars and Neptune. Mars is going to meet up with Neptune and Pisces, and this is unfortunate that there's going to be the sun squaring both at the same time, because it's going to make us force ourselves to confront all of the confusion, the subconscious stuff that we're still holding on to that's not allowing us to let the truth in our life be seen. We also are going to see the moon come into Pisces this week and cross over Mars, Neptune, and square the sun. And I always like to say that whenever this much mutable energy comes, especially with this Mars, Neptune, this is really like drunk, unconscious, egoic holdbacks in ourself. And so how does that aspect in love? And with the moon squaring the sun, it's going to be wild. This is going to be, and I know I remember when weeks ago I said it's going to be freaking crazy, and people were like, and then it got crazy. And if you think that it's all just chilled out right now, I'm about to tell you it's about to get extremely crazy again this week. So in our love lives, I think this is going to be the first time this year, and I would say in a long time, that are you going to take the action yourself about removing your subconscious patterns and tendencies and holdbacks to things that aren't giving you the environment and the happiness that you want? Or are you going to have the universe come through with a major tidal wave? And it's going to feel like a tidal wave this week, just energetically all over the place. So the emotions are all over the place. The moon's in Aquarius this week. It's in Pisces, moving into Aries at the end of the weekend. Like I'm just going to let people know that it's going to come through all this weird dimensional outer realm, weird energy and square all this Gemini. And it's going to be this might sound weird and I don't want it to sound triggering, but and especially in like health astrology, this is like a seizure. So there's a little bit of like a love seizure going on in people's lives, and trying to calm that down and figure out how to deal with the hyper shock of too much change, or just too much stimulation, or too much things just all over the place, that we have to find some sort of counterbalance and weight. And I think that's very difficult. There's not a lot of grounded energy, unfortunately, this week. You got Pluto and you got Jupiter, and they're in retrograde together, but they're almost together, right? At the end of this month, they conjunct, and those two are dealing much more with the underworld realms, and they're not really being, seen as far as, Jupiter's down there with Pluto, and it's in its fault position. And so with Saturn in Aquarius still, it's, there's really no counterbalance. There's a lot of, weird trying to understand the connections in your life and trying to understand the future of where things are going in relationships. And it's going to bring up a lot of the past, a lot of subconscious patterns, a lot of what's been suppressed, what hasn't been said that needs to be said, what needs to change that hasn't been changed. And Venus is continuing her retrograde, and she crosses, actually tonight as we're talking, she's on top of Taurus, and she's with Taurus, and then opposing Aldebaran, or she's on Aldebaran opposing Taurus. And then she goes backwards, and she's really going into some, the only, I would say, good aspect here is the Chiron aspect, but even that, it's like, can we really heal our lives with putting down our guards and putting down our identification of how we think relationships and maybe look, and who it is too, right? Because there's that ego of who we think it is and all that. That's going to be, think of this like a massive eraser coming into your life about love, and trying to clean up a pen and paper that has so many squirrely lines on it. You think that you are in some sort of psych ward. Sounds like a wonderful week for love. But maybe it's through that craziness that we actually can find the energy that we're somewhat lost in trying to understand what it is. Sun square Neptune alone is complete having to listen to the truth of spirit, and also not be guided by, creating our own signs. And it's a discernment of understanding what spirit's true intent really is, opposed to you creating your own intent of what you think Spirit wants. That's pretty deep. So we go into the cards now.
Well, this is Deep Love Tarot, so
It is.
gotta get deep.
All right. First card that we got for this week is, wow. Yeah, it goes with it. 7 of Cups upright. There's a lot of prizes. We could be really lost into our fantasies and lots of different options. And sometimes it's a problem, right? Because it's always, in this case, I think it's funny when you look at this card because you're getting like, whether you want to call that a nun or whether you want to call that kind of an energy of the feminine, kind of like the old school, like, hey, I got to watch for you. Which one do you want? It's kind of weird as we look at all these different things we want in our lives, but it's like, when are you going to finally stop just kind of circulating in so many different areas and so many different fantasies or so many different, places that you think it's going to be, but really it's like you have to make a choice in some sort of way. You just don't want to get caught up in the looping cycle of continually not knowing where you're going. You want to have some sort of understanding where you're going with things. And this is definitely not bringing that. It's bringing a lot of weird illusionary aspects. The challenge card that we did pull is, wow, look at this, the 8th house. This is definitely a lot of ending and beginning. So it's a little bit more intense than an eraser. I would say that it is a Grim Reaper or crazy. I always look at this and I always think it's a clown. Have you ever looked at this card and it looked like a clown, even though it's not a clown?
A clown, no, but it does like bring me back to some like childhood game or something like that, but I can never pinpoint what it really is.
I don't know. This one always looks like a clown. It's like I think it can be a clown, but also, there is this like, unfortunately, even though it's a pharaoh, it's a mummified one. Like we have to kind of go deeper in and see the things that are over. And I think that's a challenge. In order for us, though, to start a new beginning, how else do you start a beginning, even if it's a restart or it's a fresh start or a positive thing? There's things that you have to confront in your deeper truth. You have to expose. The 8th house has to deal, of course, with sex and intimacy and mainly intimacy of like how deep are you willing to go? Where are your boundaries? And I think that people might have a lot of boundaries up. 8th house stuff actually usually is more of the opposite of like no boundaries. Usually people with 8th house stuff have a lot of walls. The overall that we got here is the 2 of Wands in reversed. So this is definitely us not knowing where we're going in the world or which world we want. And I think that's kind of why we're looking around for so many different things, because we really don't even know the world we want to have anymore with love. We're kind of afraid to kind of maybe make some sort of major decision, especially one that we fully commit to. And that's causing a lot of issues. So if you're in a relationship, you might be dealing with somebody, or maybe it's in yourself, that, there's commitment issues of unsurety. And then single people out there are unsure of how much they want to let in, or maybe they want to go all in and that other person doesn't want to. So there's definitely a lot of weird vibes here. The way to get through this is the 7 of Swords reversed, to be as authentic and real as we can be, and not to try and, beat around the bush or, especially with this 8th house and a 7 of Swords reversed. Wow. It is saying that, you can't bullshit your way through this. You can't keep bullshitting. So there's something about bullshitting that's going to be big that this week. There's also going to be a lot of exposing of situations that need to come out of the reason why there is this unknowing. And it's going to be a lot of like intense, gnarly revelations through major revealing of truth and to get us out of this weird vibe. I'm going to pick a Black Mirror card. We got, wow, Atonement. Look at all the swords in her back. So it's like feeling backstabbed in many ways, but are you really? Maybe it's you're backstabbing yourself and you're not in tune with what you really want in your fantasies. Like you're stabbing yourself by continually denying yourself of what you already want. So you just kind of want to keep it as like, oh, I just kind of want to keep, I think of Atonement as like not in tune. And I think of Atonement as in tune as well. But in that card with the backs being stabbed, it's almost like there is something to say about us stabbing ourselves in our own back by continuing to ponder instead of, I think, just get to the real shit. And when we get to that Two of Wands reverse, we got the Nine of Wands upright, which is interesting card because it is a card that can sometimes be defensive or protective. But it is a card that does know what it stands for. And it is about, when it comes to the world that you want to have in your love life, you have to be willing to stand for it. You have to be willing to put a lot of protection around that as far as defending that position in a way that you are willing to guard it. You're willing to put yourself in front of it. You're willing to, there's something about putting yourself in front of something and being like, yeah, this is it, and I'm ready. And I think that a lot of this is about major intense truths and what to stop and what to start and what to end completely, what to be intimate with, what not to be intimate with, what to commit to, what not to commit to, what to end completely, what to start fully, and from a place that's of truth and not bullshit. We did pull Capricorn 12th house with Uranus there. Well, there's definitely a wrecking ball coming through this. Those ones that are like those old wrecking balls that are on those big cranes. Boom! Because this Uranus here is going to come out of nowhere and just destroy the foundations of your spiritual subconscious that's been blocking through rules or trying to put on some sort of facade. I always look at Capricorn 12th house as a facade, like trying to put up some sort of, everything's all good when it ain't, and trying to hold on to some sort of authority and control over something that you can't control anymore. Uranus is going to break that. But I will say that if you're willing to allow the universe and destiny to run its course, and you're willing to let the electricity and the craziness of that come in, it could take you to some great places. So depends on where you sit on the fence with that.
Yeah, and it comes down to like knowing and being aware that this change is present, this change is coming, and like I said, go with it. We talked about before, obviously we grew up here at the ocean. When the waves come back in, that water is pulling you and it's fighting and pulling you back in. Sometimes that safest spot is to ride that water back out towards the waves so you don't get caught right there in the middle trying to fight something and let it flow. It's good to know that it's coming, because now you're not going to get caught off guard when this change does come through, because that's the worst situation possible, when you're not ready for change or you're not open for the change, and then it's forced onto you and there's nothing that you can actually do. So just be aware and be present, be welcoming to this change that's coming for you.
Very much so. I mean, I feel like it's almost like this is the major final curtain call to the end of major stories, because I think we're all over the stories we're in.
One hundo.
I think that that's the truth. So first sign that we're doing of the zodiac for this week is Capricorns. Cappies. I just got in the chat. What's up? Well, Craig's loading that. I'm in the chat reading what's going down. Facts. Much respect. I guess we'll see what shows up. Maybe some clowns show up. Somebody wrote Miley Cyrus.
And I wanted to say that I am standing up, and I will be standing up for this broadcast. And so I throw it out there. Anybody else that's listening, maybe not right now because it's pretty late, I'm sure, wherever you're watching, but maybe throw some earbuds in instead of just sitting on the couch and listening to this. Maybe go take a little walk around the block, get that lymphatic system pumping a little bit. So we're all in it together, baby.
All in together. All right, Capricorn. Well, I think that this week for you, it's just still the stress over your life, and that you have so many questions about it, and you need to just, instead of stressing, get to the point and make the changes. I would say that that's the major aspect of this week, because it's getting a little bit crazy. So let's see what's up with your cards for this week. Poor Craig is standing up and walked away. I'm going to go really fast with the astrology. I'm not going to do astrology on here today. I'm literally just going to do that. I'm going to give you just the point, straight to the point.
Let's do it.
We got the Hermit card upright. So I think, yeah, you think that you don't know all the knowledge. You're stressed, and you think that you already have already saturated and gone into the woods and figured things out, and you're ready to come out. So it's almost like, well, where do I go? What do you mean? I thought that you just spent the whole entire probably last 2 to 3 months like processing all this stuff. I think that for your love life right now, I think that there's way too much processing and not enough going out and doing. And this Hermit card is saying like, all right, you might feel like, you're a little old rigidity. It's funny how Craig was just saying, go take a walk right now. Like, like maybe put on your earbuds or something. And that's kind of how the Hermit feels. It's like it's in the woods. And I know a lot of people like the Hermit card, but it has to move forward and it has to keep going. And there's something to say that you have to move forward into the light that you have gained and the knowledge that you've gained. Yeah, wow, your challenge is the Pluto card, the transformation. So your whole love story, whether you're single or not, or in a relationship, there's something that's so intense about the change that you have to make in your life, and it's a challenge for you. And I think it's a challenge of going in a new direction. It almost feels like a typical Capricorn. When Capricorns get old, they definitely like kind of feel and look like a Capricorn. That whole like, oh, I'm still here kind of energy. I got to move forward. Like I was like, come on. Someone's like, come on, Goaty, let's go. So there's definitely like an ushering you into this new energy, and you can't be afraid of it. And you can't be afraid of deep transformation. You can't be afraid of taking on inner things, bringing new things in, and that means making change. Whether that is bringing in a new life through an exit or an entrance, there's definitely this major change happening with you. Wow. And look at it. You do get the 10 of Cups. This is like one of the best cards in love and romance that you can get. But I think that you only get the rainbows and the sunshine of the ultimate happy and the love stories that you want when you finally just start moving forward into the crazy change that needs to happen, and the death and rebirth process that needs to happen. We're going to get a lot more clear on that. What is that death and rebirth process about? Well, you got the Queen of Wands in reverse. You feel like you haven't really been giving yourself the true happiness and love that you want. You haven't been nurturing yourself with it at all, and you feel stupid about it. And do you want to continue feeling stupid? Do you want to continually deny yourself in the nurturing of the true love you want? If you're with a partner that you don't want to be with and you just hold on to it and you're not being nurtured from it, like I know you feel stupid, but why not make the change? If you're single and you haven't let anybody in for a long time, like why are you just continuing to block that love out and not really reach out and you've been processing and do what you've got to go do to bring that happiness there. For that Hermit card, you did get the Four of Swords in reverse. Yeah, you've been oversaturating. Four of Swords is definitely a rest card, and it's just reversed, and it's with the Hermit. You've been resting, and you've been a really intense Hermit about the changes that you need to make in your love story, and that needs to stop. You got this 10 of Cups because look at Divine Feminine, which I think is interesting that you got this Divine Feminine with the 10 of Cups, because this is going to hold you and nurture you much better, this new story that you have to do. And especially with this Queen of Wands reversed, it's almost like you haven't been nurturing yourself at all. It's like you've been giving away all of your happiness to some sort of weird, I don't know, whether you want to say you just gave it all away, or you give it away to people, or you just don't accept anything into your life of goodness, of happiness. Well, there you are, finally ready to give you that ultimate greatness and that support. And I think it's support that you need, but don't block support, and don't keep accepting places that don't support you, even if it is what you think is supporting you, but it's not, because it's not what you want. You did get Pluto in Aquarius in the 8th house. So yeah, you're having to make some of the most radical transformations and changes in order to bring in exciting new things into your life. And this is all about moving forward into the future and changing your future, and also learning to connect in ways that are going to feel odd. They're going to feel weird. You can't be a weirdo here, Capricorn, because you're too afraid to feel alien by actually being more truthful, whether that's putting the truth out there about how you really feel about the future and the connection, or just the weirdness of, oh my gosh, what's it like to connect again and to actually connect? It's almost like, there's a lot of electricity there, but you're almost afraid to see what it's like to turn it back on.
Right, and that Capricorn, the goat, that it doesn't follow a trail. It blazes its own trail. It goes and it eats the grass and it makes its own path through it. It goes out into the world and it goes out and explores. And I think that it's definitely time to get back in tune with that raw emotion, that raw essence that you truly are. Let that light be seen. Shine it out into the world.
Shine it out, Capricorns. Well, you got your opposite side. Cancers are next. Cancers.
Grab people.
lot of noises going around here lately.
It's been super loud.
We've been having
off.
fireworks like crazy. Maybe some fireworks are coming for you, Cancer. I mean, this is, I don't know how to put it, but the story is changing, Cancer. The beautiful vision you had is getting fully wiped away by another one that's the truth. So just be ready, because the story in the, it's almost like you might believe this princess story or some story, and really you're still Cinderella, and you're still with your aunt, and you're not out there yet. You know what I mean? Or they kind of take things backwards for a second, Cancer, and realize the story really isn't it romantically at what you want. And there's got to be an adjustment here to what spirit wants the story to look like, and a surrender to things and a different viewpoint. Your first card that you got is the 8 of Cups in reversed. Ooh, not wanting to walk away still, or you feel like that's too hard. So either you can't walk away from someone, you can't walk away even when the universe and in yourself, it's kind of, everything's been filled up here, and there's, it's kind of like leaving the gas station. Like, okay, you got all your gas. What are you still doing here? No, I got to go back inside again. I forgot I want to get more of something. This card definitely says that you still are turning back because something's not fully done with yet. But it also, usually to me in a love reading, it's always like you're going back to do the same thing again because you want to go keep looking at the emotions even more. Like, that's just going to be an interesting card. The 8 of Cups is like surrendering and moving on to a whole new path and letting everything go. Being like, I'm moving on. To have that reversed, it's like there's a part of you not wanting to move on. You have to look at the challenge, the Venus card, the love card. Oof. So, I think that this is challenging positions of, almost like wanting to leave to find real happiness, or wanting to find happiness, but unsure about really going into that water and what that really looks like and what it really means too. And dealing with the stuff that you actually have to do in order to do it. It's like you don't want to face that. You don't want to face that new road. You did get the King of Cups in reverse too. Whew. Definitely not feeling in control of your emotions and empowered in your emotions to make decisions and to know what you're doing and to feel secure. There's a lot of insecurity emotionally here, of unsurety of where to plot yourself, where the emotions are sitting. It's a lot of lost energy when it comes to your love life right now. The way that you get through this challenge, holy cow, you got the Venus card as your challenge with the Lovers reversed. I don't think anybody has to really say too much about that. This is definitely, for a lot of Cancers out there, a lot of, I would say the most positive news is that the amazing love stories exists, not in the stories that you see though. That you got to get through this crazy story first and finally get to the point of understanding it, because there's definitely a lot of inconsistency and a lot of not happy emotions here. Maybe this is just a bump in the road for this week. I know that's what you would rather hear. I'm pulling a black mirror card for you. Look at this, hiding your true self. That's the issue. You're not allowed to be yourself, whether you're in a partnership or you're dating somebody that you can't let go of. There's some part of you that hides your true self. You're trying to be a false sense of self. So you hide it, and you're afraid to actually go be that self. So you keep running back to that hidden self because you almost feel like you have to be that person, but you don't. And that reason why you got the King of Cups in reverse is the Ace of Swords in reverse. So that's definitely unable to make a decision about, to finally get the liberation that you want in your life and the freedom that you want and the actual truth. There's a hard part of you to actually kind of, take that Excalibur sword and actually take it from the Lady of the Lake, from Merlin, and step into the King of the, in this case, in Camelot, the Cups, the Grail, the Holy Grail. There's a part of you that's almost willing to accept just the Grail, but not the Holy Grail of the emotional happiness and love that you want in your life. Your Astro Dice are, you did pull Scorpio, 10th house, Sun. Well, you got to make some big choices this week, and they are definitely heavy, intense ones. And they are definitely ones that are about making massive change and getting to the truth. And you have to take control of your life again. And you've got to make tough choices, and you got to let go. And this is hard with Scorpio because it is an emotional sign, but it's an emotional sign in Capricorn's ruled house. So it's like, you know, it's much more power when you actually step into the authority of the truth of where things sit and your deeper needs and wants. Quite interesting. Quite interesting.
Yeah, I'm picking up maybe there's a lot of Cancers out there that are catching like all the feelings right now. I mean, we all know that there's every energy possible floating around on Earth right now, and maybe they're getting caught up and getting lost within those, and maybe they're not the healthiest energies to be bringing in to be feeding off of. I think that it's time to kind of focus that energy on towards a positive outlet, a positive way to express yourself, and a positive way to bring that energy in and live with it. Don't get caught up in what's not going to be benefiting you. Don't get caught up what's not going to be benefiting your partner or relationships with individuals. Focus on the positivity and use that.
I'm reading these comments while you're seeing all that stuff.
What comments in particular?
There was a comment that was about, you know, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. That's a choice not to give, receive, embrace, blah.
Well, there we go.
I mean, everybody has their own opinions, but I think that's kind of the problem, is that Cancers are only in a good place in their life when it's all or nothing about love. That's why Scorpio's their 5th house, and Cancer risings. Like, because then the crab does not move. And that's the problem with Cancers, is they get stuck. So it is all or nothing. That's why Libra is their 4th house. They get stuck. They weigh too much out, and they're emotional and get caught up, and that's why they have a shell to protect them. And then if you notice crabs, they barely move. They'll be hermit crabs that'll be hermiting their whole life underneath the pier, and the whole time they could have just made maybe a move to the other side of the pier where there's way more going on, but they decided to stay. Pisces could have been swimming with the fishes. What a beautiful day to be a Pisces in the middle of this fuck show, spiritual astrology decade. I'm going to come up with a Broadway show for this. Well, Pisces, this is you emotionally really intense. It's going to be emotional, especially about what you want in your life, what you've been putting yourself into with love, you know, what you really want. But a lot of it is like where you live. Where you live determines who you are and what kind of love comes around you. This is 4th house, 1st house squares. And there's a part of you really having to kind of, you know, look around and see, like, is this where I want to be? Is this right for me? Do my partner and I want to be here? Is this working? Is it not? My living situation, how does that work? That's all coming up really intensely. So the first card here, remember, you had Saturn retrograde in that 12th house, giving Craig his little hot lap over here. All right, we got him back. So
I'm back.
You gotta clear some shit out.
I'm doing hot laps. I'm about to get like 200 steps throughout this show.
Boom. 200.
200.
You got the Nine of Pentacles upright, finding your own power within yourself to attract in the things that you want in your life. But it is a beauty card. It is a card of stepping into your innermost beauty and the surroundings that surround you. It was interesting. I was talking about your surroundings. So, I mean, it's a great card. I think that you're starting off really good here. I just think that, you know, it's like you have to know that beauty from within and know how to show that beauty off. There's something about, like, I don't think that you need to prove it to anybody. I just think that you need to emotionally embody it and people will feel it from you. I don't think that you need to kind of like try too hard, but I think that you need to know how to embody this beautiful energy to attract the energy that you want in your love life right now. Your challenge card that you got is the void off course moon. Something's missing. I think that you are feeling that, you're kind of drifting right now. There's, and the stream's very uncertain where it's going right now as a fish, Pisces. So I would say that this is a challenge. There's a feeling that, any void, of course, moon feels like you're just kind of, monotonous duties, or things are not going as strong as you want to feel, and that there's something missing and you want a lot more. Your outcome is the 9 of Swords in reversed. So you have a lot of fears that are already been shown, but it's almost like, can you let them go? Letting go of your fears and anxieties and doubts. I think that these are things inside of yourself, though. I would say that you have your own inner feelings and doubts about how great and magnificent that you are, and showing that, because without showing that, I'll be honest with you, people aren't attracted to people who aren't showing that magnificent energy of self, and not in a place of, doubts and fears, or, not knowing maybe for you how to connect there might be an issue, but you get through that by the 4 of Wands in reversed. I think that maybe you're too focused on exactly how you want everything to look emotionally in your life. It's like you're too fantasized about the exact way that the movie should look for your love story. And that's probably the problem. It's like you kind of just need to go and show up with the beauty that you are, and just see what happens, and get rid of your worries and get rid of your doubts, and stop focusing on it has to look like this, and I got to get married, or we need to do this in our relationship right now, or we got to do, like, this is about just erasing so much of that and getting back to just the beauty of what you are, the relationship is, and just seeing what happens. I mean, there really is that element right now, and getting rid of all your doubts and worries and fears of it not going the way that you want to. I'm pulling a Black Mirror card for you, and you did pull the Calling the Storm. So, I think there's a lot of similarity here with this 9 of Pentacles and this Calling of the Storm. They both are this kind of individual here that's knowing in their power. So I think that you want a lot of like stimulation and change in your life to come into your life, and you're willing to almost kind of disrupt the way that things are going in many ways. And, but that's falling into place because of there's something missing emotionally. And I think that you have to drop this kind of, it has to look this way, because that 4 of Wands definitely rules marriage. It rules knowing what you want, what to celebrate, what to achieve for happiness in your life. And, there's something to say that that's what's making things missing, is that it's got to be so specifically looked at where it's going. For your 9 of Swords in reverse, you did pull the 3 of Cups upright. So yeah, there's nothing to stress on. It's about having a good time. The 3 of Cups is the party card. It's about like having a good time, a party, feeling good about things. And I think they not focusing on, well, where is this, or what is this going to be, or how's that going to be, and how's that going to look, and how's it, it's like getting out of that, because that's not the time for you to know that right now. So, stupid phone. Let's see what these astrodites have to say. You did pull Pluto and Virgo in the 3rd. Making yourself truly heard is important. But I think that there's a lot of things that need to change in your environment first. There is that home thing going on in the astrology. But I would just say that maybe the specifics of your mind and how you think the reality should look has to change completely, and it's like, maybe you're too caught up in the idea of something and how that idea is. And I think that you need to re-examine things from it's almost like the computer's already done its virus scan, right? And it's like, okay, there's no viruses. It's like, maybe you just need to do another rescan here and not be so confident about that things are supposed to look this one way, or, you're having to rescan everything and come from a place of, maybe you're too obsessed with a specific way that love should look right now, and how you want to be even talked to, or how that purity should look. Or maybe you're too obsessed with purity, but there's something to say that needs to change. There needs to be depth in this reality. And I think that even though you want depth, it's almost like you won't allow the depth to happen because you're just looking at how is it going to work in reality. Well, you have to almost leave reality to go into depth.
Yeah, I like that, because I was watching this new 30 for 30 on Bruce Lee, and he talks about being adaptable. His famous quote when he's talking about water, and he's saying, be like water. Water can transform into anything. When you put that water into a cup, it becomes a cup. When you put that water into a bowl, it becomes that bowl. When you put that water into a bottle, it becomes that bottle. You know, it doesn't just get held up and say, no, I need to be this certain way. It adapts and it transforms. And I think that's very important to do in this aspect right now. I think it's very important to get out of the funk and to be able to see the world around you and adapt and take the pieces from what you want to be. So be like water.
Is that from that new documentary movie coming out about him that some guy on ESPN did or something?
Well, that might have been at the 30 for 30. It's like a series that ESPN does on there, all sorts of things. They actually just did one on Lance Armstrong that was really good as well. So if y'all like sports or just interesting stories, you check them out.
You should check it out.
Check them out.
Well, I think we're at 1,000 people, so that means that we are going to do our 1,000 collective reading. This is where you get to choose who that you want me to read for in your life. You're going to visualize somebody, but you better be talking to this person. You better be flirting with them. You better be tired. There's got to be interaction. And that includes dating apps that works and stuff like that. Or you're in a relationship with them. Or, I don't know, maybe they're your friend with benefits. Whatever it might be, you want to find out what's going on with this situation. But if it's somebody that you've never talked to and there's been no communication and there's, doesn't work, and you can't use this on somebody else because once I do this reading, you're like, well, that makes more sense for this person. No, you pick the one person. So you have 5 seconds to pick this person into your head. You got 5, 4, 3, and you got to be staring at them, like put them up on a picture, on a wall, in a room, and look at that picture right now. That's the person, and you are dead sure that you want to know what this reading is about with that person. And let's see what happens, all right? 1, you're hypnotized with me. All right, we got the Magician card reversed. So there's definitely either this person is confused about their power and their magic and themselves, or maybe they feel when it comes to the relationship that, they're not seeing the magic in it. Maybe because they're not knowing how to connect with spirit right, or they're not knowing that there's magic there, or they're going through a place where they're kind of stuck in reality and not knowing how to connect from above and down and realize the magical person that they are. So they're in a place where it's kind of hard to manifest right now. They might be going through some deep turmoil in their life of trying to create this magical world, and maybe they're attached to a magical world that isn't coming true. And that's kind of creating a little bit of a weird storm here that's making it hard. The challenge card is their senses are off. So, it's almost like that they I think that they might be connected here to some sort of story that isn't real, or they want it to be real and it's not turning out real, and they're trying everything they can. There's a lot of frustration because of that. Any magician that tries to force any kind of spell or anything like that is not a magician yet. I mean, like, you just don't go making magic and saying like, I'm going to do this because I want to go play handball at my old, elementary school or something. It's like, I'm not a kid anymore, and they would probably look weird at me being 36 years old next month on an elementary school playing handball. Like, you just, and then there's probably not even a handball court anymore. Like, there's just like things that are being looked at by this person that's not, they're kind of off, and you're unsure, I think, connection wise, why is there magic here or not? Are my senses right or not? That's the challenge that you're having with this person. Like, your overall with this is the Wheel of Fortune. So it's almost like, the outcome is the fortune and the universe is going to turn this the way that it is. So maybe you need to drop trying to focus on this for the moment and see, and maybe this week it finally will give you the outcome. Now, Wheel of Fortune is the outcome of the outcome. It's not, people think that fortune is gold and you win like the lotto or something. The fortunate part is that it does come to its yes or no answer. It does come to its final, evolutionary moment where change, and there is something to say where you will know where things stand with this person, I would say, by the end of this week. How you get through the challenge is the Strength card reversed. So stop trying to, I think, push too hard or trying to understand the senses too hard, because it's making you feel, I think, powerless the more that you keep trying to understand the feelings of this relationship, or this person might also be really not in their strength right now, and maybe it's taking them this week to get into their strength before that they can deal with things with you. We'll pull a Black Mirror card for them with the Magician card, and that is the wow, it is the envious gluttony. So they're in a place where maybe they're not happy with the way that their love situations are going and their love life is going, or maybe your partner is not, happy with you, or they're envious of you. And there's also an obsession, a gluttony, right? Like too much of this, obsession with somebody else or obsession with some outer spot that's really not that healthy. And so that has to be worked out and cleared through. And I think that's also going to be a projection on yourself, that this is kind of an unhealthy thing that you're obsessing about, like you keep trying to figure out. The reason why we got that Wheel of Fortune card is the Eight of Swords upright, that, I think that this is definitely something that is, trying to reveal where it traps you by continuing to try and figure the situation out so much and not letting, it kind of work out its natural way. I think that, the more that you try and control the situation and try and understand it so much, it kind of makes you feel like stupid or in toxic waters, or feel like you're in misalignment overall. I will pull one card to see what's the overall of just all this and how is this thing going to end up. And it's the release card. So it's going to be something, there's got to be a release here. Whether they have to release something or you have to release something, or it's just you got to release this person. But I would say that there's a release coming. It can go with that Wheel of Fortune any different direction, because I think that what's being released is something toxic. Either A, it's the toxic thing of you continuingly to do it, or it's you. Maybe you're the one right now in this person, and you're wondering about this person, and they're asking you to make change. And maybe it's a good thing for you to release it, because maybe it's not good that you're still holding on to something. Or maybe it's them. Maybe they're still not willing to release something that's toxic, that the universe is trying to turn things to a much more positive direction. We'll see how that one goes. And the Astro Dice are, well, we got Mars in the 11th in Sag. So, this is definitely trying to understand a very complex situation. It's a very intense situation. There's a lot of hope there. There's a lot of different elements that are trying to be understood here, but there's definitely trying to even connect. So there's like a door that's trying to connect here, and it's a big door, and it's like, there's a big wish, but I think that there's, a lot of it, this is like a long journey, it feels like. And maybe this is a long journey, and to understand that it's a complex situation. This is definitely not simple. This definitely got a lot of complex, weird elements to it that are hard to understand. And you can't let it overtake your own confidence yourself, or, take away from your own confidence. And this has to deal with the egos too. Like, this has to deal with, maybe your ego and their ego, or people not really trying to find a way to work out. Is it friends? Is it just friends? Or is it really more than that? You're going to have to ask yourself that.
Yeah, it definitely feels like something is off. Now, whether this relationship started off kind of like hot and heavy, and then the realization of life set in, you're like, is this person actually going to be benefiting me long term? Am I actually going to benefit that person long term? Because it's a two-way street also. You can't just look at it as what I can get out of this relationship. It needs to be what I can give also for this relationship too. So
very true.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, you have to be honest upfront. Is it going to be worth the effort? If there is this issue that's been plaguing you, is it worth the effort? If this individual is portraying that they were one thing when really they're about something else. Again, like David said, you can't be losing yourself within it all either. So I think it really takes time to come back to yourself and to assess what you've been going through, and to see if it's actually going to be worth that time.
Boom. And it is 11:11 right now here in the West Coast. Craig bringing in the divine guidance at 11:11. We've got the Virgos. The virgins. Nothing hotter, Virgo, right, than a virgin vacuum. A virgin Swiffer. Tenth house, seventh house squares. making choices and having to kind of deal with adult situations and relationships. It's definitely, this is about planning in relationships, or, trying to find the ultimate relationship that actually is going to take you into the role and to the future that you want. So this is not about playing around with kid shit. If you're dating and you're dating somebody that doesn't have their shit together, like, run. If you're in a relationship, this is like dealing with more of like serious issues in life, and like it's definitely testing the relationship element of like how strong the relationship is. So that's going to be what this kind of crazy storm and subconscious stuff is going to bring up, is how strong is the relationship, and can you guys deal with adult things? And for single people, it's like, are you going to find people that are on the same level as you as far as goal-minded, or have their shit together, or are wanting to achieve something together, or do something more in life than playing around with kid shit and getting lost into crazy emotional weird shit? First card that we got, and I can just do it like this until Craig is back. We got the Chariot upright. So I will say this. This card is definitely saying that, it's time for you to go on the adventure of your life. It's time for you to really move into an awesome new direction that's really positive. So I'd be very, very happy if you are moving in a direction where it's something new. It's something that feels guided by the universe. It's guided by the magician's wand. And there's something about old stories that just, don't want to be played out. This is about also kind of coming into the passion of, I'm going in this new direction. So I think that Virgos definitely are going to find some direction this week to go to that's called by spirit, and leaving kind of the same boring place that you've been, but it's definitely going to take some sort of, you got to get on that chariot, and it's a big ride. And it is a positive card though, but it does run into a whole new place. Your challenge is the Mars card. I would say that this is definitely a hard identification process right now, or maybe you're feeling maybe a lack of confidence in where to go. And that's why I think the Chariot card's there, is like, hey, you don't have to do this all alone with it. You just got to show up, and the universe can kind of take the reins and get there for you, but you got to step into the vehicle. Like, I think that you're afraid to kind of maybe say what you want to say, or step into what you really want. So there's definitely a need for you to really not be afraid to say what you want. You don't need to force it, but I think that with the challenge that you might need to kind of force yourself a little bit more to actually say where you want things to go, or be where you want things to go. You just can't keep sitting around and waiting. Pulled the Tower card. But this is a good card to come as the outcome. I think that you're finally coming to the end of some really, weird place in your love story, in your love life, where something has divinely come in to just break apart the way that the relationship was going, either to transform it into a much better place, even though it kind of feels like a new place. For single people out there, it's kind of that, okay, let's get on the chariot, let's get on a new place. There's definitely a completely new story coming for Virgos this week. And definitely burning out an old one. And I would say that that's a positive thing. I wouldn't be nervous about this reading. I would actually be more excited. But it's definitely going to feel very intense and very fast and very swift. The Chariot, the Tower, the Mars card, the Force, right? Why we get that Mars card? We got the Two of... These Two of Swords always just get me every time, because it's just like, you got to make a choice. And I think that you have a hard time making a choice in life about what you're going to do or what steps you're going to take. Like, it's almost like you're waiting for somebody else to make a choice, or you're making really dumb choices right now off things that you don't even really want, and they're not going in the direction you want. And it leads to these Tower moments that you're over and that you're trying to get over this week. The reason why you pulled that Chariot card is you did pull the Judgment card in reversed. So Virgo, you got to pay attention. Like, if you're going to go anywhere, you better go somewhere that Spirit's calling you, instead of picking people or picking situations that don't have a spiritual element or don't have some sort of higher calling. Like, this is kind of, and I got it through the astrology, and I'm getting through the tarot now, dealing with kids, dealing with people that are just not awake, dealing with people that are just like not got their shit straight or don't have a purpose. It's higher. And I think that you just don't want to get on some sort of like big wild ride into some place that has no deep spiritual purpose. It's like going the wrong direction if you do that. The reason why you pulled that Tower card is guides. You need to follow where your guides are telling you to go. And this can't be like you just telling yourself. Like Spirit's telling you to go a certain direction, and you need to follow that. Your guides are trying to speak to you right now and trying to help you avoid the negative of the Tower, but the positive of the Tower, to take you to the place that's an ending of something that's, you know, just maybe a way of functioning in a relationship, or the way that you date certain people, or the way that, like, I feel like this has to do more about more fundamentals of how you are, opposed to, you know, like actual, like, you know, you're coming into a big breakup or something like that. It's just more about, you know, guiding you into a better place that you're ready to get over, and you're supported through it if you follow the guides. And especially with that Judgment reversed, if you don't follow guides and you don't follow, you know, kind of your spiritual path here, and you keep messing around with people that aren't in that path, you're definitely going to end up kind of in a Tower moment, though. And I think because you won't be connected with your guides, because you wouldn't even be in that energy, because you would be, there is something to say about people who aren't connected to the same spiritual purpose as you are definitely causing disruption, but people who are causing finally things to come to a change that you've been wanting to. You did get Venus and Libra on the 12th. Definitely past life situation here. And also you just getting rid of all the subconscious issues. So I think the positive is that there's like definitely a spiritual relationship, if you're single out there, that definitely you feel more called to do, and it won't be chaotic if it's there. But I also think that you could also go into some major chaotic situations relationship wise if you're just blind to the spiritual energy and you're not paying attention to it, or you're drunk, or you're high, or you're doing it for just a party or some fun. You know, you got to find some balance here, and you got to make sure that you're in alignment with the proper energies right now, because it could take you either A, to the most amazing place, or to a very crazy dark place.
Yeah, like you said, though, it can be definitely positive. You know, it's almost the aspect of like leveling down. We're allowing other people to kind of bring us down, when in fact we should be radiating. We should be bringing those individuals up. We should be helping them. We should be boosting them, not letting them bring us down. You know, it's always going to be that counterbalance of going down to someone or allowing them to come up to us, and teaching them along the way. And I think that it's time to, again, listen to your guides, listen to what's being presented in front of you, look at all the facts, and help individuals kind of see it, and help individuals go along on that path with you. And if they are going to do that, that's going to be great. If they're not, then sometimes you got to let that wash away.
Ain't that true? Sometimes you're just gonna, or just snip. Snip, snip. My little nephew's getting snipped right now. Aries. Snipped. Out of all my talks with my brother, that was like the big news. I go, well, so you just chill tonight at the hospital, you know, because you have to wait 24 hours. When he was like, oh no, the baby's getting snipped tonight. And I'm like, oh. He's like, I gotta go. I'm like, okay, that's the last thing I heard from my brother. So right now, my little nephew's getting snipped. Aries. It's gonna be a lot of 12th house. Wow. Mars and Neptune square the sun in your third. Don't lose it this week. Don't start falling into chaotic mind places. Don't project this week onto other people. And make sure that you don't become isolated in your environment by projecting, or just staying isolated, and also not saying what you really want to say if you're in a relationship. It won't really work that hot for you. You did pull the Queen of Wands upright. So this is a great card, because this is you really realizing that there's so much support. I love this card too, because there's so many angels that really support this Queen intensely in this deck, because she knows what she wants, and she owns it with her grace, but she knows her happiness. She knows what brings her love, and she allows that in. She doesn't go crazy. She doesn't have to do crazy things, although sometimes queens do crazy things in life. But the Queen of Wands definitely is more crazy fun. Third house, 12th house can be crazy fun. Trust me, I'm a lot of third house, 12th house squares in my chart. But, you know, and it's great for channeling. It's great for doing the things that, you know, you need to say that are divinely guided. But this is divinely guided to your happiness. Like, don't block that, and don't suppress that, and don't not speak up about that. But you got to show up in the right projection of the Queen of Wands, not the Queen of Crazy. Well, you're coming into massive change, or are you blocking that change? You got the lunar eclipse card here. This is one of the most intense cards in the deck. I mean, I'll be honest with you. This little creature creeps me the fuck out. And when you get this lunar eclipse card here as the challenge, it's like you're afraid of massive change. Like it's almost like I think that you're actually believing that you want change, but I think that actually you're subconsciously doing a lot of emotional stuff that blocks the change. So you're afraid of change. You're afraid to kind of bring out the real emotional stuff. And, you know, lunar eclipses definitely, they change the ball game emotionally. And I think that for you, you're looking for this ultimate happiness, but are you willing to make the crazy changes in your life in order to make that happen? Are you willing to fully go through with it? I think that you throw the ideas out there, but then I think that you actually don't do anything about it. And that's not going to work anymore. You did pull the Queen of Cups as your reversal for the outcome. So that Queen of Cups reverse is definitely saying that there is a cup. You're feeling empty overall. And I think that you're feeling empty because you're too afraid to make the change into the ultimate happiness in your life. What's going on, Aries? Why? I think that you're blaming it on other people when it's really in yourself. I think that that's a projection. So stop projecting this on other things or outside yourself, or, you know, just own that you just need to make a change to fulfill your happiness in your life. That's all you got to do. Like, and be willing to make the full change, letting go of something. What do you got to let go of? Let's see what with that lunar eclipse. Well, you got the star card. It's like, are you okay with starting everything from a fresh new space, especially with love? Like maybe if you're wanting to date somebody or you're in a relationship and, you know, it's almost like there's like, why can't you just start things from a new space? Like, I think that you're holding on to things that are holding you in your own prison of your own happiness. And I think that you're a little addicted to it, but I think that that's okay. I think that this is a place where this is a massive reset for you. I'm going to pull a black mirror card, and you got addicted. You're addicted to wanting love, but yet I think at the same token, you're actually more addicted to not allowing it to fully happen because there's like some weird black dark mirror here of you kind of in this weird space, like addicted to the pursuit of love and liking the position of that, or liking the, or you know what, subconsciously underneath, I think that you're afraid to reveal the things that you really are and that you are obsessed with. Maybe you're addicted to lots of lovers. The Queen of Wands with an addicted, she's like trying to get many kings, but she wants one, but are you really ready to make the change about that? Or are you ready to make the change about what you're overly addicted to in your life? Or, you know, it's like, I think that there's a lot of shame and guilt that you have to let go of what you've been and just be the lover that you want to be. But you got to be it fully instead of like this kind of playing a role instead of actually stepping forward into it. The reason why you got that Queen of Cups in reverse is the Four of Cups. Bright. So, you know what? You do project and you do subconsciously deny the things that do come to you, and you might not understand why. I think that you have a problem understanding why. Like why does something, it's like easy to blame another person. But I think that you need to look deep in yourself here that, you know, God's given you the gift, God's giving you the opportunities in life, but it's almost like you're not taking them, you know, or you're not jumping on them, or you're not, there's still some sort of weird kind of separatism here. And I think that this is about being truthful and naked and being willing to go with however things really go, instead of, I think, this idea of control and this idea that, you know, things just don't ever work out for you the way you want to. Well, I think you choose that on purpose. You kind of like it because it gives you a story to talk about, when you would have a better story to talk about when it's the real thing. You did pull the North Node in the 5th house of Sag, so it's definitely about opening new doors, new adventures, and opening up love into your life and being honest about love and being real about love and really going through the experience of love. Love is an experience. It's not just some thing that you know, well, I want to love, and it's like, okay, well then go on the experience. Get in your car and go experience it. Go get on a plane and go experience it. Like, do what you got to do. Like, don't keep you know, pursuing like the idea in your head of how to figure out love. That's your issue, because the opposite of this would be the South Node in the 11th house in Gemini, which would be you're trying to figure out love when there's no thing to figure out except to keep going through the experience of it and keep experiencing it and opening the doors.
Yeah, keep going, because I'm getting this picture of like a ram just going and then stopping, going, stopping, going, stopping, when in all reality, I mean, a ram gains its momentum and a ram pushes forward and it goes and it makes shit happen. Doesn't just stop and kind of think about it and reassess the situation that's getting into. Now that ram goes and pushes forward and it gets what it wants. You need to tap back into that energy and just progress forward. Don't look back. Just continue forward with that momentum and see where that's going to take you.
Very much so. And that's kind of and it's like a ram kind of like watching a race of a bunch of animals, and they're like, I'm really good at that, but not going into the race. Like, but then being like, they didn't invite me to the race. It's like, what do you mean? Like, you just show up and you go into the race. Like, you know, I liked that channeling there, Craig. That was.
Hey, thanks.
That was interesting. Aquarius, I did drop one.
And said that the standing might be good for me.
Maybe the standing is good for you. Maybe you're a standing channeler, and that should be your like name. I'm the standing channeler. I will stand as I channel to you.
What'd you pick?
I picked Aquarius.
The standing
Hi,
channeler.
I'm Craig, the standing channeler.
I will stand all day for you.
I will stand for you.
Minus spurts where I lay on the ground. That's
Minus moments
also.
when the camera's not on me. I'm walking around and laying down and stretching and.
My calf keeps cramping. I don't know. Just drinking water over here. Staying hydrated.
Maybe throw some Bengay on it.
What I use is this stuff. It's called sombra.
Icy hot.
Sombra.
I've used that before. That stuff's good.
Yeah, my grandmama, Nanu, she swears by this stuff. It's really
And it's
good.
natural, right?
Sombra. Yeah, natural pain relieving gel. Warm therapy. Got it on my Achilles tendon right now. It's feeling nice and icy.
Woo! All right, Aquarian. Well, love is there, but do you feel like that you can hold on to it, or do you think that you're worthy of love? It's a big question. Do you really want to have love? That's a big question for you this week. Do you really want to have it? Are you willing to have it? Or do you like, of course, your independent energy, which is why the South Node's in your 11th house, which you rule. But think about 18 years from now. Not going to have major love transits like this come around. 10 of Pentacles in reversed. So there's definitely something about the foundation of the home. It almost kind of feels like might be chaotic at home, might not feel like you're happy at your home life, might not feel like you're happy, you know, or you might be in a weird living situation, or you're just, you know, maybe kind of over where you live or over the whole dynamics emotionally of like, maybe you feel like if you're in a partnership, the relationship doesn't really have a foundation anymore. It doesn't have a lot of energy around it anymore. The parties, the people that come over doesn't feel normal. It just kind of feels off. There's definitely a lot off about the foundational here. A lot off about, you know, really kind of this overwhelming like connection of so much goodness that's around here. You got to pay attention to that. Like, are you having an environment in a relationship, in a home life where you feel like there's so much more? It's like, it's almost like stale. So, you know, finding partners or finding relationships if you're dating or if you're in a relationship that bring that energy that can build something great and have a lot of excitement and positivity as their foundation is important right now. But staying in places and staying in the same place and staying in the same place that doesn't feel like it's got a bunch of energy around it does not. The challenge that you pulled is the Leo card, the will to actually go into the happiness, into the power of your own heart. This is hard because this is your opposite sign, of course. And you know, it's like the challenge of really that love takes the willpower that doesn't think about home. It doesn't think about staying to some sort of foundation. The only foundation for Leo is love, right? Like, I'll be honest with you, as a Leo, I will fucking chuck everything for love. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, like, so, you know, but it also is, Leo is the courage for happiness. And I think that there's a fear of the courage or losing something, especially with the 10 of Pentacles in reversed, almost like will it have footing? There's a lot of doubt here, or there's a lot of facing the fear of finally letting go of something relationship wise that doesn't feel like it's really holding weight that is heavy on you at the moment. You did pull the star card or the sun card in reversed. Yeah, there's definitely like great light to go put on and great fun to go have, but it's almost like either A, you're denying that. I'm going to be honest, a card just flew out, which you got the Fool with that sun reversed, and another card pulled out. And it's the Nine of Swords. So the sun reversed, Nine of Swords, and the Fool. It's almost like, am I going to be dumb and go into an unconscious place? Well, maybe you are, because you're worried. So the more worry you have, or the more that you don't confront the things that don't make you happy, like, that's stupid, right? That's the Fool. That's truly not living in the true happiness that you want to be. It's almost like, I feel there's a lot of Aquarians out there in relationships that just don't make sense anymore. And it's like, why are you even doing it? And also there's Aquarians picking partners that just are the opposite of what they even really want in their life. And it doesn't bring them the foundation they want. And you've got to change that. You get through this Leo energy by the Chariot card, right? You have to go forward into happiness and love and boldness and strength. And if you don't know how to show that, well, then of course that's not attractive. And of course, then you don't get love, right? So there is this divine calling towards to go to an area, and that's a challenge in your life because you almost don't know how to maybe express that. And Leo's about expression. You got to express it. You got to, you know, be like, hey, this is how it is, and put on the show and the dance, and woo, and get on that chariot, and I'm going in this direction. This is what I want to do. Because you are an Aquarius, and you'd be mad at me if I didn't pull a black mirror card. I think everybody wants me to pull black mirror cards except certain people. You put alone in the world. You know what? That's your issue. If you're in a relationship, you feel alone. 10 of coins, reversed. And I think for you, I think that you can't build a better foundation for your love life or grow something because you're too alone. You do things too alone. And you're stuck in a place where you feel alone. You might be around 1 million people and still feel alone. Or you feel like you have to do everything on your own. You try to protect your own self too much. That's Leo's job, not Aquarians. And the reason why you got that sun card with all those other cards is the King of Cups. Well, yeah, because it's like, you know what? You're going to have to take initiative in life to realize that emotions come crazy. I'll be honest with you. Today, I went from some of the most highs of having a nephew to, I don't even want to bring up the other stuff that I went through today because it's just stupid. And I don't want to bring up my personal life, but it had nothing to do with relationships either. Just like had a lot of fucking hard shit happen today at the same time. So, but that's the King of Cups, right? Like, okay, I can deal with any emotion and I'm still empowered and I'm still in it. And that's something that you have to step into the power of. And also the King knows that's a stupid place to go for me emotionally. I've been through these kind of emotions. But if you're basing that off, oh, it's stupid for me to just go into love fully, I want to stay alone in my life, that would be not a King of Cups. You wouldn't be afraid of going to places of true happiness too. You did pull the 7th house Leo Mars. So there's definitely, I mean, Leo is your 7th house. So, whew, wow. There's definitely moving into happiness through confronting the identity of love that you want it to look like and being defining in what you want. So you have to define the love that you want this life. You have to take action. You have to go into the relationships. You have to go into your partnership if you're in one, and you have to define what you want to make happy. You have to express your Leo. You pulled Leo twice. And so the only way to bring peace and calm in your life, believe it or not, Mars is kind of hard there in the 7th house because it's that detriment. So it's like in life to bring peace, sometimes we do have to take action. And I know that is so what we is counterintuitive to the societal norms. But that's why Mars is not happy in Libra. It's not happy in the 7th house. It's happy in Aries. It's happy in the 1st house. Because in order to have harmony, we do have to take proper steps in the world and go towards things instead of try and negotiate too much, because some things are unnegotiable, especially when it comes to your love life right now. And it's like maybe letting go of your unnegotiable elements and start negotiating the things that are going to bring you love and taking the courage to do that. And the kind of people that you're talking to.
I didn't see you there.
Are you pulling a Hauser on hello?
But no, I was tapping into that Leo card that you pulled even before you rolled that dice, because I think that is important for Aquarius to harness that energy of the sun, to kind of tap into that Leo quality, to let that power of the universe, of the sun, actually like work through you in your favor.
It's definitely in their favor.
Yeah, definitely. But they have to be able to grab that. They have to be able to want it and know that they can harness that energy and use it for their favor, and they're not just going to burn themselves up.
Well, and Leo, doesn't accept what it doesn't want. I'm talking to the ones that are in weird relationships. And Leo doesn't go into relationships that it doesn't want, and dating that it doesn't want. Like Aquarians can kind of be in a relationship just to be there. Like I see all these Aquarians that are in relationships sometimes, and I'm like, why? And then I'll talk to them and they don't even like want to be in it, but they're just in it to just be in it. And they're like, well, I'm supposed to have a relationship, so that's it. It's like, what? You're just filling in one of the gaps of life that there is? Woo! That's got to change. All right, let's see who the next sign is. We got the Librans. Moving through.
We're like halfway through.
We are moving halfway through. It's been a long day. It's moon over all those rough planets. Fuck.
Moon's over my hammy.
Yeah, over your ham sandwich.
Did you ever used to get that from Denny's?
The moon over my hammy.
Moon's over my hammy.
I don't.
Dave loves diners, by the way.
I do. I like the more
loves it.
Midwest, Central America, or central parts of America, like diner. I like diner. Hauser loves diners too.
Diners.
You don't like diners?
Diners are cool. I'm just not a big breakfast person.
I don't either. Have you ever seen me eat breakfast?
Eggs Benedict. I do love me some eggs.
Do you know tell everybody what I had for breakfast?
Fucking Sprite.
And a cigarette and...
Maybe one of those Crustables or Uncrustables.
I used to do that. Lately it's been Cliff Bars, but...
Cliffs.
That's it. My whole life, no breakfast. But if I do go to a diner, I got good breakfast.
I like chicken strips and fries and a salad with ranch.
Well, Libras, there's so many options for you out there. Why do you keep focusing on kind of trying to maintain the same old and the same story and the same story and the same story? There's something to say that this is about looking a lot broader and wider and trying different things and changing up your reality in love and looking different places and giving more doors open in places that maybe you've never tried before, never looked before. If you never tried a dating app, you might want to try that. If you are in a relationship, maybe you need to see if there's more to this relationship than just what you already have, and keep exploring that and seeing if it's stimulating. And if it's not enough, well, we already know, Libra, that they are on the chopping block. Got the Two of Swords. You don't know where to go. You're in a weird place in your life right now, Libra. But you always feel that way. But I would say that, Two of Swords definitely is kind of, okay, what direction do I take relationships right now? Or what? I don't know where to go. I feel like I just can't. It's like, you've got to make a choice here. Just go expand. Like, what about making no choice? Like, no, there's no two choices here. Why don't you just be open to seeing what's there? Make that the choice instead of it being so specifically looked at. I think that you're trying to specifically look too specific. Like, it doesn't have to be so specific. And don't get caught up in specific situations that are defined so much, because it's almost going to make you run away farther. Your challenge is the Taurus card I have. So there's some issues of either A, you have a relationship that you're not feeling the value of, or you're wanting one really bad, and that's the challenge. You don't know how to get it. Either situation here, it's because of kind of sitting on the fence too long, which Libra sitting on the fence is making Humpty Dumpty look like a amateur. He did pull the Ten of Swords upright. So I would say that your overall is you keep doing the same thing. So why do you expect things to change? Why do you expect value to just grow out of nowhere? You just think the cow is just going to get bigger and you don't give it food? Or you just think that you're not going to get love or you're going to start to get love when you're not feeling like you're getting love by just doing the same thing and not doing anything different? Like it's just going to plop out of the sky? That ain't going to work. This Ten of Swords is saying that there's a lot of patterns that you keep repeating, or you just keep, I don't know why. It's like a person. I think that maybe you're dealing with a partner, or you're dealing with a lover, or an ex especially, and you just keep trying to see if there's something there. Like, what are you doing? You already know. You need to kind of open up to new ideas, new places. The way you get through that Taurus problem there is the Five of Pentacles in reversed, which is, I think a lot of it is that there's going to be Libras out there that are in relationships that they don't value things, but they almost feel like that they're like, you know, abandoning somebody and that they're doing the wrong thing if they do that. Single Libras are kind of in a space where they kind of feel like this, they don't have the goodness. They don't have the goods. When you know you have the goods, you're a Libra. Like Libras have the goods. Like, trust me, lots of people want to always be with Libras. But I think the issue here for you is that, you know, there is a quality control check on your value systems here and your victim energies. And maybe you're victim to somebody who continues to be in your life because you choose to keep them in your life, and you shouldn't. I would say that that's a big one. I'm pulling definitely a black mirror for you, and you did pull fated to suffer. Yeah, you're fated to suffer when you don't make a choice and make a different direction change here and just sit in the same old, same old. You're just going to sit there and be Snow White, and that evil queen's coming with that rotten poison apple. Please let me suffer and take that apple because I didn't make a choice. Reason why you got that Ten of Swords in reverse is the Seven of Wands. It's like, I think what you're doing is that you're still defending a person that you already know you've done so many things to try and change it, and you're still going to own it no matter what, and that's not working. And you're not willing to look into other directions. So you're just trying so hard for something that just doesn't work. Sorry, that's just truth. You got the South Node in Libra in the 5th. Well, I think that you're wanting to find the ultimate happiness and love, but the only way to do that is by connecting in new ways and connecting to new people and connecting to a whole new world and taking that courage and that strength and that power to go into it. Like, you have to make a radical shift here, and you have to pivot into a whole new place in how your love life works. And you do need to look at new people and not be afraid of that. Even if you just glance.
Yeah, like you're saying, like, energy of maybe it's like ex-lover looking at that, or it's, I was picking up kind of like maybe it's just like that same type of individual that these Libras are going for, and say like, I only like this type of person. I'm only capable of this type of love. I'm only receiving love in this way. And it's still just that same motion of going over and over and over. But if you don't change that up, you don't switch that up, if you don't get out of your comfort zone, then it's not going to work. You're just going to wind up in the same situations that you've been working through. It's not going to benefit you in the long run.
And I think you're right about that. And that mixed with that Libras, even when they're single, are still always got an ex around somehow. Talking to an ex, being with an ex, still thinking about the ex. You know, it's when you finally like drop that ex that you finally can open up something new. Right. And then Libras, when they're in relationships, and they're over it, they wait for some moment that'll be the most easiest time for them to slip through the cracks, which is never, until it gets crazy. And the reality changes, or the reality forces them to change and get out of it. And so, you know, I'd look at that stuff, Libra. We got Taurus. Did you take the lighter? Oh, first class delivery. Hi, Taurus. That's how you would have done it. Maybe it's Tauruses that I have to have the talk with. These are fake cigarettes used on X-Files back in the day. They were from 1990. Like 4. I bought them on eBay. Not real tobacco. Some of the kids don't remember X-Files and the fake cigarettes they smoked. So, your own house to have Venus retrograde in, and that's your planet, and it's squaring with the sun in that same house of Gemini, the second house, to all this 11th house stuff. How are you going to get what you want in your life if the world that you live in doesn't even allow you to have what you want to have in love? The people that are in it, the world that you've built. That's the issue. So you're wondering why relationships aren't working, or your partnership is weird right now, or whatever. Trying to shove people to fit into your world, really hard. You being willing to go with the flow and adjust your world to other people's worlds. Might be onto something there. First card that you pulled is the Fool card reversed. Oof. Yeah, this is not just being a fool, but this is just completely not, willing to accept the fool within yourself. Like completely blind to that, everything's fine when it's really not. Or just like not willing to make any change. It's like denial of change. Like, I'm just going to keep doing this and just maybe things will change. And even though I'm about to fall off a cliff and I'm drunk, or I'm just, there's like an inattentive element here of really stepping into, the positive change that you want to have in your life. This is definitely kind of, maybe you feel really stupid about the way that you've been handling a partnership, or you feel stupid on how love is going in your life right now. And I think that this is a wake-up call week. Get out of like your own suppression of knowing the issues that make it not work in your life, and go, I'm ready to give that a change. You did pull the Chiron card as your challenge. So it's like, I think that you keep saying that you need to heal, or you need time to change things, and you need to keep holding on to crappy situations in your personal life or other people's shit in order until you can open up your love door. But that's your issue, is you're trying to heal other people and trying to hold other people's crap. But this is the challenge position. Like, you're not here to, like, you're blocking your own happiness and your own love for doing shit for other people, which is creating a world that doesn't bring you your own happiness. And that's actually in the astrology, and that's actually right here in the tarot. The overall that you got for this is the Justice card in reverse. This is unfair to yourself. These are unfair situations that you're dealing with. You might even be dealing with a partner who's being unfair to you, but that's because I think that maybe, I don't know, maybe you're holding on to things that don't need to be held on to. And also maybe you're being foolish. Maybe you're not really paying attention to what you're doing. And so there's an injustice to the relationship. There's an injustice to people that maybe that you're dating, or maybe somebody's being a fool to you. And but this is about you. And so Maybe you're trying to heal all the things that take you away from love. And that's not fair to yourself. You did pull the Ace of Wands in reversed. So I think that you're afraid of really taking a stab into a whole new direction with your happiness. And that's your issue. The only way you get through that is when you actually realize that you're afraid to start a new life of happiness. It's like, that terrifies you. It's like, oh, it's going to cause disruption and it's going to cause people to lose something that I keep helping. Do you already know how fucked up that sounds? That you don't have backup for somebody to take the position to help? There's no situation in life that you ever run into where it's like, I have to help this person, there's nobody else. That's just a very easy way to scoot out of things in life. Your Black Mirror card that you got is Artificial Heart. Oof. So I think it's the false front of that you're all in or are all happy or that you want love and all that. But inside, it's like you realize that you're not able to be that full heart because of the life that you live. That you're foolish enough to believe that you are the real heart right now when you know that the fool inside of you is carrying on in a way that you can only bring a certain amount of heart, which is an artificial heart, into your life. And you wonder why maybe it feels like artificial hearts come to you. Well, you got 10 of Pentacles in reversed here. There's definitely a foundational element, injustice, an unbalanced system of the home life and situation going on, or that, you know, it's an empty space where you live. It's almost like you're in such an empty space that you feel that you're unjustified and you don't want to be there, but you choose to be there. And that's the foolish part. And that's creating this artificial heart, and you're holding on to a bunch of shit that you don't want to. And that's your fear of stepping into the ultimate happiness by disconnecting to that. So you got the moon and Capricorn in the 7th house. So yeah, you want relationships, but you need to start to put into order which relationships emotionally come first into your life that are going to give you what you really want in your life and get you to the place that you want to go. I think that you need to re-strategize your emotions. And I think that you also need to learn to curb your emotions to certain people in order to put all the emotions that are more meaningful in your life in the directions that you want. There's something to say that, you know, I think that you like control of relationship emotions, but I think that this is more that you are actually being controlled emotionally by people in a weird way that you then project that onto others.
So it's that lack of self-control almost to an extent. It's
Maybe, yeah.
Allowing themselves to get out of whack and kind of becoming that picture that somebody else wants to paint instead of actually creating what their own life is and creating who they actually are.
Yeah, and I don't even think that you could even give the quality of that they're even painting a picture. I think it's much more of like showing up and saying they have a picture and there is no picture. Like
my dog ate my homework type of situation.
But there was no homework and there's no dog.
And there's no boy or girl. It was all figments of your imagination.
I think that you bring up a good thing, though. I think it's more like, how are you going to get into something if there's no way for anything to even get in because you feel that you have to do all these other things in your life and they take away from even having a doorway open to it. Right. And you live a certain life that you come up with subconscious, foolish situations of like, well, I can't do this or I can't do that, so I can't do this or I can't do that or blah, 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 blah. A lot of can'ts.
It's easy to fall into that one right there.
Yeah. No harm. Just yourself.
No harm, no foul.
Just yourself. You know what I mean? Like, just yourself. If you want to keep playing that tune, woo! Play that tune. Must be really fun playing that record. On repeat. Uh-oh. It's a sign that creeps out of the darkness and shows its head and likes to have a party.
There is only one party.
Which party is that?
Oh, we know, because ain't no pie like Scorpio party. Baby!
Ow! Wow, he even got down. Don't show that to your physical therapist. He's going to fucking beat your ass down. But you'll just tell him, fuck you. Ain't no party like a Scorpio party, baby.
Sorry, Steve.
Sorry. Love is scary and it's intense, and I don't know why you're scared of it right now.
Hey, be nice or I'm cutting the feed.
Huh?
Be nice or I'm cutting the feed.
Fuck, well, I ain't gonna let you control. That's one thing about being a Leo. All right, then I'll just cut the whole fucking studio. Fucking, you find a new job, and I'll fucking go out and fucking do this shit back on the street again.
Let's do it. Let's burn this bitch down.
Why are you so afraid of the real deep shit, but you want to hold yourself off to the fake shit? And that's not who you are. The more real shit is, and honest and truthful, that's showing up with that, that's what you want. But it's almost like you want the people right now, or you're staying in relationships with people that aren't going to reveal fully everything. It's almost like you kind of want that, because it's like, well, it's like, okay, I don't have to get too deep into it, or even though that's what you really want, but you almost kind of want, I don't know, some sort of false story that's not real. Like, this is intense. 5th house, 8th house squares are about passion and love and intensity, and you desire it, but at the same time, when it shows up, you're like, no. 3 of Cups reversed. Well, your issue is maybe you are distracted by different parties of people, and it's taking you away from the real deal. So you're distracted on people that really are not that much of a Scorpio party. Who you hang with, where you go, are distractions right now. A lot of distracting energy right now, and it's not as exciting when you actually get there either, because it still makes you feel empty. You pulled the Sun Spirit card as your challenge. I would say that you're afraid to really be yourself fully and see the love of yourself fully shine. It's almost like you're kind of enjoying not seeing that right now, and that's a challenge though, because it's like that starts to play that Scorpio tune really well, of the darkness and the lack of, and and the weird kind of sadistic quality of like that edgy depressive state. So what's up with that? Distractions of who is not your real self, or you're just distracting yourself from really stepping forward into who you really want to be and what you really want to have in love, and that's a challenge. I think it's because it's scary, which is so ironic because you're not a scaredy cat, but lately you are. At least you got the Magician as your outcome. So this is definitely a week moving into realizing that, you know what? Magicians use the energy that's around them from the universe, that the universe gives them, and makes magic out of things. But it also doesn't try and make magic out of things that just aren't going to work. So I almost feel like that you're trying to create some like AI robot relationship.
I am a robot. I do
And
robot
you
things.
obviously don't want that. It's like you're afraid of the humanness, of the depth and the passion and the edge that it's going to create. And yeah, it could get blown out of proportion. It could end up in tragedy. But this is like Romeo and Juliet story shit that you're trying to work out in your life, Scorpio. And I think that that's what you want anyway. But why are you trying to resurrect empty energy that would never even do that fully with you? Why'd you get that challenge with the Sun Spirit card? 8 of Pentacles. It's like you're afraid to advance to the next round of your soul. You're afraid to advance to your next round of relationship too that you've never been through before. It's like you're so used to the same kind of relationship that you want to stay in that same kind of relationship energy. You're afraid of like, what would the next level be like with something new and something I've never experienced before. When that comes up, it's like you deny it, block it, or don't acknowledge it. But even though inside you think about it, you're Scorpio, you just don't reveal. And then you ponder on it all day. Then you go distract yourself, and then you think you'll find something different. It's like you almost like, okay, I've got this great thing here, but I'm going to move back to looking at old situations or get distracted in these crazy places, and then it all doesn't work. And then you get back to that amazing thing, and then you're like, I don't know how that's going to feel still. I know the comforts of my soul and how it works this way, and I'm just going to stay that way. Well, you got the masquerade, so you're like hiding through distractions, through people that are fake themselves or not really showing the energy that you want to be in anyway. Like the masquerade is the false party. Or you're giving way too much joy and energy to people or energies that aren't going to give that much back to you. And they're not. You pulled the Magician card because you did pull the 6 of Swords reversed. You're afraid to magically go to a better part of your life and cross to a world you've never been to before. You'd rather stay in the same place that you don't want to be and think that something will change, but it's not going to. You have to get on the boat and actually take a risk and go to a new place, because that's the only way that you're actually going to get to the magic that you want. But you're trying to make magic, and you're like, I don't want to have to get on the boat and go to a new place. That's impossible. Well, then just keep fucking being on the hamster wheel every day of not in your true soul, and you're going to feel empty and dead. But you kind of like that. That's the problem. You got South Node in Leo in the 5th. Oof. You're so focused on your own happiness and this idea of romance and how that it should be, where maybe you need to take a look at different perspectives and go into places that you've never been before in your life. Try new people. Try people that you've never tried before. Give people that you've never given a chance. Like it's almost like you're only like, I know the signs of the happiness and that's how it's only going to be. Or you're so obsessed with still like maybe one person, or, you know, like your own happiness, or just like that's not going anywhere though, you know. Masquerade, a Scorpio not being a Scorpio.
Yeah, I think it's very important to kind of get out of these comfort zones. It's easy because we do reside in the black and white of life to get stuck in this one way and not necessarily want to change it because there's not that transition. But I think that it is very important to get out of that comfort zone. It is very important to experience and to explore new worlds, new individuals, new situations, so that we can take that in, so that we can transform, so that we can get out of our own way and actually be open to receiving that love when it does appear. And actually we're going to know what it is. We're going to know ourselves in a greater knowledge. And after that, it's going to benefit everybody involved, Scorpio. So let's get that party, huh?
Seriously, that 11th house is a party house. So it's almost like you're missing out on the real party because you're distracted by the party of your own happiness of things that are not showing up.
Yeah, don't be a party pooper. Don't poop your own party.
I'm being a party pooper to the party pooping party, meaning that I'm waking the party that's not a party up and being like, let me show you the real party. Come over here. And everybody's in there like, but we're having a great time. We're all like feeling we're ready to die and we enjoy it. And we were just about to pull out all the weird sadistic stuff. It's like, come with me if you want to live. Come with me if you want to live. That's Leo to Scorpio. Scorpio to Leo is, come with me, it's time to die. And embed fully into every little part of the depths. Okay. Leo has no problem going there. Scorpio, though, going into the light. I think we're at like very small amount here. We got Sages. Last one is Leo and Gemini. I might be over that whole Leo Gemini thing. Fucking. Sag. Well, I know, Sag. I know you don't want to hear that. But since Venus is still retrograde in your 7th house of relationships, and now the emotional craziness finally hits. You already thought it's been emotionally crazy. Now you're going to get the deepest emotional craziness at the highest degree with Mars going into Neptune, square the sun in your relationship house. Yeah, this is like going to bring up the adventure of your emotional life, like, and totally, removing what's not emotionally true, and to also try and remove you, because Mars in that 4th, you're going deep into some crazy emotions right now. And now it's starting to get tailspinny and crazy because it's all trying to find the truth about relationships for you, which it's almost like you don't know if you want to deal with the truth of that emotionally because it's so emotional and you're so sensitive right now. You're like, the Pillsbury Doughboy right now, like, but instead of being touched emotionally there, it's almost like, ow, ow, ow. I don't think anybody would have bought Pillsbury Doughboy fucking if he would have been like, oh, look at, I'm making my biscuits. Ow, ow, ow. Like, I think we bought you Pillsbury Doughboy because it was, what happened to the over the things that you really emotionally want in your life? It's almost like you're so terrified and so gridlocked into safety and security and don't want to change up the home environment and don't want to change up the emotional world at all. That's the problem. That's what's causing you to feel so stuck. Queen of Swords in reverse. So you really have no idea where you're going at all. You don't even know the direction. I think that you're really lost right now. I think that you also feel really stupid because I think that you thought that you had outsmarted the whole entire idea of relationships and you had figured out how it's all going to go. But this is a week that's realizing that you have no idea where things are going and you don't know the direction. And I think that it's causing you to lose a lot of that feminine energy of how to take care of yourself by, actually logically looking at the truth. It's almost like you're denying the truth and, you're being cold to yourself by actually thinking like, oh, I know what's best for me at this moment and all that kind of stuff. Like you don't even know what's best for you in the next second at this moment. And communication issues, big time with love. And again, Mercury. Your relationship planet has your challenge position and it's your mind. You're stuck in your head. You're overthinking it all. When you're overthinking things because you really, for some reason, really thought you knew the direction and you don't. But the truth is that you do, and you denied the real truth of the direction to take. Now, this is going to come up. This is going to shift your environment. Your relationship shit is going to shift crazy. And I think that that's the challenge is start really thinking from the true mind. Especially with the Queen of Swords reversed, she's facing upside down and you're like an upside down. When you go into a bedroom when you're a kid, did you ever do that and like go into bed and turn upside down so you could see like your carpet is the ceiling and the opposite would look like the ceiling was the floor?
Or when you draw the face on your chin upside, so you're
you know what I mean? Like right now it's like, oh yeah. And as a kid I would do that and I'd be like, oh, it's so crazy. It's like that's what Sages are doing in the relationship life is like trying to walk on life that way, and it's going all in these weird wrong directions, and it's like just turn back around and This is what makes sense, and get out of these crazy, weird places. Pulled the Two of Cups, which is the soulmate card. So you got soulmate energy that's just all around you right now. We're going to get closer on that. But right now, the way that this card deck sits is you're facing away from your soulmate. And the challenge is bridging Mercury, who's the one that is the messenger of the gods and bringing the message, and also the bridger between things. The only one that can go to every planet and be neutral. You got the Five of Cups in reversed. It's like you're continuing to not face the truth because you're afraid of going through sorrow, but you've already gone through enough sorrow that there's nothing left to be sorrow. Even it's like the sorrow goes away when you face the truth. The sorrow goes away when you have the hard combos. The sorrow goes away when you change the environment, when you change the way that you do your relationships right now. It goes away. It doesn't continue and get harder. You're already experiencing the hardness from staying in the illogical places that are based upon this fear of going through dramatic sorrow, when I'm sorry to say you're already living in a world of dramatic sorrow right now. Your dark mirror card is sacrifice. Wow. You know there's a sacrifice that must be taken, but you don't want to face that truth. You don't want to look at that direction, because the sacrifice is actually pulling a sword that's looking directly at the sacrifice you're willing to make to get what you want in your love life. You can't just like expect there not to be some sort of sacrifice in order to move in the direction that you really want to go in, because you're definitely looking in a weird direction. It's a 7 too. It's a spiritual number. It's a spiritual sacrifice. Are you in alignment with your spiritual self, or are you sacrificing your spiritual life by looking in these crazy directions? And the reason why you pulled that Two of Cups, the Seven of Swords, you lying to yourself. You're dealing with a lot of energy that, you know, it's like a false self. It's the thief always. But it's like you're robbing yourself of soulmate energy by not living in your truth, and you're lying to yourself. I don't know how much more clear I can be on that one. You've got Venus in the 5th, Virgo. Well, in order to have love, you got to change the reality. So the reality that makes you happy is what you got to go do. But if you're going to continue to go living in this tiny, tiny reality that brings you a tiny bit of happiness, and you're a Sag, well, it's going to feel like a tiny bit of happiness that you're doing all this stuff for. Is it really worth it?
Maybe the aspect that they need to sacrifice in their life is that notion that they can't change it. Sacrifice that notion that they're stuck in one situation. When in fact they have the ability to change and to adapt. But you have to believe it, and you have to actually take the steps forward. You can't just continue to hold yourself in there. There has to be some sort of motion or energy put into motion to get the change that you're actually seeking for, to get that love, to get the relationships that you're worthy of and that you deserve. You can't just sit back and get stuck in the same situations that have led you to where you are right now. You know, it's like in Jurassic Park when they're typing in the codes, and he's like,
Not he's like, not today.
Yeah.
Geminis, happy birthday, Geminis. And I have a Gemini nephew now. Geminis never leave my life. They're always going to be in my life. Look at they come back. It's like a boomerang. That one finally flew away. kind of funny doing the opposite sign now. It's like Gemini, you got to look at your desires and your wants and, you know, are you on the right path with your love life? Is this really the path you want to go on? It's going to finally come up to where it's like you're ready to make tough choices, even though they are sensitive. But like, are things not looking the way that you want to? I think that you're about to face the truth of what things look like and listening to the signs of where God is telling you to go, but are you denying those signs by your own ego? You've got some ego issues right now during your birthday with the Sun square Neptune. It's like the delusion of your ego of that you have control of everything, when really Mars is there being like, you don't got control. And Neptune's like, oh yeah, let's show this Gemini that they don't have control. So I think that this is going to be also looking at what you think is the beautification of this fantasy of the road you're on, revealing itself that it's not really that road. Weren't seeing things clearly, or you're not seeing things clearly. But I think that you can. All you got to do is just make choices now that make sense for your life, that fit in with your life, instead of deny it and trying to go on. Like, it's almost like you're swimming against the tide in the most weirdest places just because you want to go to that island. But do you really have enough in you to go there and continue to still go there? And when you get there, do you even know what's really there? You did pull the Six of Pentacles in reverse, so there's a lot of unfair transactions going on between anybody you're dating right now, or relationship. It's almost like you're giving everything away and this person's taken from you. I'll be honest. I got a feeling, Gemini, that you're kind of in a place where you're giving too much away and you're not getting it back in return. And of course, in relationships, we have those give and take moments, but this is somebody who's kind of using you for a charity, whether they're trying to use you for your place or your money or your car, or even maybe just spiritual stuff, right? Like, you know, but you know, it's like you're, I think, waking up to that. So anybody you're dating like that, like that's going to be clear. Relationship Geminis are going to kind of be like, uh-oh, there's definitely an imbalance here. And, you know, look at your money situation. Look at your business stuff. Look at your work life right now. Is it really in a good space? Or are you lying to yourself? Like, how much money is going out and how much money is coming in? You might have some money worries, and it's connected to the kind of people that you're connecting with romantically. You pulled the Aquarius card as this whole look at. I was saying, it was funny that you know what you want and all that. You don't. The Aquarius energy here in the challenge is trying to say that you have no idea of the world that you are in right now. You have no idea of looking in other directions. Like, I think that that's your challenge, is that you're not looking at the future enough. You're not looking at the whole picture either. It's like you're only looking at the picture that you want, which is that you feel that you're serving some great need when really you're being taken advantage of. Look at this. Your overall is the Four of Swords. You got to go find where real solace and real peace is in your life that is connected with spirit. That is, I love this version. This is probably the best Four of Swords rendition you can ever get. I would definitely go take a nap in there. But I think that there's a part of you that's like, overall, like, you got to find where your real emotions are going to find true stability and true emotional security, because there's something that's not right. Something alien, something off. There's a lot of disconnection here with Aquarius as the total disconnect card, because it's a challenge. You're going to see the negative part of it. Why did you get that Aquarius card? Well, you pulled the 10 of Cups. I think what your issue is right now is that you are building visions on, you know, weird situations that really do not click well. And so you're trying to make, like, you're fantasizing, you're pooperying a bathroom that's full of shit and thinking that it smells great. But you can have the great situation in your life without having to use poopery. Your black mirror is the gilded regret. So you're definitely dealing with some sort of regret based upon, you know, that you're in an unfair place, that you're not in an actual balanced state you're picking people who are not in a balanced place as well, or they're not equalizing the same amount of energy that you are, and they're not willing to even maybe do the service that you are. So you've got this regret, but I think that I think that you have too much pride to deal with it. So it's almost like you don't also want to maybe expose it. She's a little dark creature here. Yeah, I don't know if I'd really want to go hang with her, because instead of the roots being at the bottom, the roots are at the top. And it's an elf, which I don't know if you know, all Geminis are elves. So it's like you're rooting not even in your root energy. You're like now trying to root anywhere that you can in these energies, and that's not a good place to be. And the reason why you got that Four of Swords, you got the Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, you're not able to really move into what you really want fully because you're not in a place of solace, which is very rooted, and the true place of solace. And you're expecting it to just turn into the ultimate coin, the ultimate place, the ultimate, vision that God's going to give you the life that you want, but it's not showing up that way because you're not in God's palace. That person does not have the rite of passage to come through there because they're not holding that energy fully. You pulled the 6th house Mercury in Cancer. Definitely major lifestyle changes out of nowhere, and they're going to be very emotional. Definitely having to communicate your emotions and feelings. I definitely think that this is, it can be a little frustrating, Mercury in the 6th, because it has to get specific. And I think that you're going to see the reality if the emotions are really there and the foundation's really there. And I think that at the same time that there's a lot of anxiety right now emotionally about these situations that are been growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. And are you going to wait till it becomes an anxiety and panic attack about this stuff? Or are you going to actually make the adjustments and go with the true feelings that you need and make the life to where you really want to be emotionally, opposed to trying to adjust things in such a weird way that, sure, relationships need adjustment, but these are so many adjustments that it's like you can't find a solid place at all.
Yeah, it's time to put that energy in motion.
Motion
of the ocean.
You like the motion.
Motion of the ocean. I think it's definitely time to utilize this excess time that you may have to kind of figure out what is actually important, what maybe wrongdoings you have done in your past, so you can actually work through those issues and not bring them into future relationships. I think that it's time to focus truly on yourself and the path that you want to lead and what you want to put out into the world. And happy birthday, Nathan.
Yes, happy birthday,
Big
Nathan.
Nate.
Because as somebody said here in the chat, I couldn't believe I read this. It was, elves are child of Lucifer. That one's pretty harsh. Elves equals Lucifer's child.
That's not nice.
Yeah, it's not cool. I think it's a joke, but
Yeah, I would assume so. Well, my friend, it's your time to shine.
well, let me finish the proper way.
Voila.
Wrong pipe. All right, Leo. being a computer is not easy. We like computers, but we don't want to be computers. But right now we have to be computers because we're trying to understand where depth and deep connection lies. So we have to use a computer to go deep into the well. Well, don't get weird about that, because it's better to at least look at things and be curious and go down there and figure out, if you're in a relationship, Leo, like, is this really it? What does the calculation say? What do the facts say? Does this environment make sense? Is the communication there? Would they not only be a good monarch next to you and be on the royal cart and have fun, but also take it to the bedroom and have a good time? Leos need a lot. So this is hard to find. How do you get all these complex things that you want in your life and the depth that you want to all meet? It's a hard square. But don't you dare just give your energy away in believing that maybe it will turn into that when it's not showing up that way and the data is showing that it's not. So that's why you need your computer right now, to make sure that all those pieces are met. But really it's about having the conversations and getting deep and seeing and not being afraid to say the world that you live in, if that depth can be met to your world. Because we already know that you know how to love. But the issue is in choosing lovers that don't know how to fit into the world and know how to be social and deep. It's always one or the other, right? Oh, I can be deep, but I don't like social. Or I'm really social, but I don't want to get deep with you. It's like, what? Knight of Swords in reversed. Definitely not here to go save the day anymore. You know, you don't need to go save anybody right now. You can't go save anybody right now, because that would be illogical at this point in your life, right? If anything, you need more saving than anything else. But I think that that's also illogical too. That it's like letting go of this whole I need saving or somebody else needs saving to feel exciting and fast. That's one of the fastest cards in the deck. But when it's reversed, it's like, think about before you go rush to save the day. It's saying, like, if you're going to go into a situation, at least think about it and make sure that that person, and you know that you're not here to save things, but that they're willing to prove, or that they're willing to show that they are connected in all ways, and they have to actually physically show that in real life. It can't just be some belief that you believe that they'll do. Well, the challenge is the Grand Cross, provoking. The provoker. You're definitely going to be provoked into some situations here, but I think that also yourself, that's the challenge, is maybe you're not provoking enough, or you're not accepting any provoking energy. And I would say that it's like, you don't have to save the day and it still be edgy and exciting. And, you know, it's almost like letting go of the idea that you have to be a savior, but you can be somebody who is under a lot of pressure to want change, and that can be a reason for things. But to save, that's not a positive thing, because a saved lover that you pick can never be king or queen. But one that's provoking you, and you decide to finally take on the provoking because they're trying to get into the castle for a reason to provoke you, and there's a lot of pressure about opening that door, is a lot different than, hey, I'm knocking on your door, I need saved. You know, there's a big difference there. Two of Pentacles in reverse. So I think that this week is going to stop all this wishy-washy, like, you know, juggling the kind of world or the kind of people that you want in your life. Because I think that there's just been an unsurety. So it almost, but you know, that this is a reverse. It's like, there's nothing to juggle. So if you're juggling things, there's a problem, right? Like, should I do this or should I not do this, or da 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 da? Like, Just look at the facts, see if the depth and the deep connection there and the trust is there, and then fucking see what happens. If you're in a relationship and you're continuing to juggle the relationship, like, provoke it to go try this new direction and see what happens. But also don't try and save the relationship because, you know, they need saving and relationships need saving because we are in this unknown place. Well, yeah, because it's probably a juggle fest because you don't even know which part of the way the relationship's going. And you pulled the Ace of Pentacles in reverse without provoking. So without provoking, or somebody that's provoking you and you don't take it, or you don't provoke somebody enough, like, then there's nothing that's going to be built. There's nothing that gold coin's going to rise up and do anything with. So I think that this is about you, you know, realizing that, you know, that you can reach the place that you want to in your life, but if you're not going to show up, that's what's kind of hard about this, that you can show up, but you don't have to show up in this kind of extraordinary, extreme savior way. Like, that's the issue. Like, you don't need to be the one that rushes to save the day. Although I will say with the Knight of Swords reversed, upright, it is the one that saves the day. But with it reversed, it almost doesn't save the day sometimes. Sometimes it just doesn't move fast enough. Maybe you're not moving fast enough, or maybe there's an opportunity and you're like, I don't know. Well, take the opportunity. Just make sure it's about not like only because you're going to try and save things, because that's not going to work. Your dark mirror card is the child I was meant to be. So maybe you weren't meant to be the savior as much as you're meant to be somebody who, you know, uses that energy to save people that already are within the love and trust in your life, instead of saving somebody that you don't know. Like, you are somebody who, you know who you were always meant to be. That means that there is something to say that, are you going against who you are by taking on situations or people that are only like trying to be really who you are in many ways? Because that's what you would try and turn them into by saving them. Six of Wands upright. Well, there's victory this week. And there's victory, I think, 100% by being who you really are, by not being afraid to move into the new and provoke yourself enough to see that's there and to stop. You don't need to juggle anything, because you only have victory when you're not juggling. Not juggling this or juggling that or juggling that. What should I do? What should I do? Or what's the value in all it? Like, it's pretty simple. You don't have to, you know, it doesn't have to be, it has to be extreme, yes, but it has to be extreme from a place that makes sense, opposed to a logical and not on the computer, and that would actually fit into your world. So it's almost like stopping before you go rush into something, because the other part of Knight of Swords is just rushing into something and being like, before I rush into this, let me put it in my computer. Will this fit my life? Let me ask a couple questions first. That's all you got to do. You got to ask those questions, because you don't want to go through the whole experience and then be like, you know what? They ain't going to fit in. Scorpio, South Node in the 9th. So this is letting go of these darker belief systems that are perilous and you're in peril, when really it's about focusing on the truth that you have a lot of great things and a lot of great qualities, and that your environment's really exciting and fun and beautiful and of grace. And because I think that you're going to draw in doors of people that might want to take or use you or be from the dark if you're in that negative dark space. Whereas if you're in a positive, logical, exciting, you know, quality of space, those are going to be the kind of people that you attract. And you have nothing to feel dark about. That's the truth. When you actually look at it and you reevaluate your dark beliefs.
Definitely, it can be rough because we kind of get almost like tossed into the savior complex, almost. You know, as individuals, you know, people that we care about, or even individuals that we don't know. You know, they reach out and they want help. They reach out and they want us to be in their lives. You know, even though we know that it might not be the healthiest situation. And I think that it's very important, like we talked about, is that you can't be the savior complex. You can't save individuals. You can help there. You can be there for them, but they have to grow on themselves and they have to walk this path by themselves as well, so they can walk there next to you and succeed together.
Yeah, and you also can't try and save people that don't want to be saved, too.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Because that would, I was just rethinking that, like that one would be a big one. Like trying to save somebody that doesn't want to be saved. Stay away from that, Leo. Well, it's a wild storm. Neptune and Mars square the sun. It's going to be wild out there in the world. And I hope that you all find in the middle of the wildness, like in the movie Twister, some love in a bathtub. Did they hook up in a bathtub?
I mean,
maybe that's my own.
I mean, they may have kissed a bit.
I think they.
Well, they were under the bridge.
Or was it a Dodge? Was it a Dodge Ram? And it was the new Dodge Ram '95, and they were.
Yeah, and then they went under the bridge.
Went under the bridge. Trolls hang out down by that bridge. But with the Twister that's coming through this week, woo! There's a little bit of Dorothy and the whole house being just flown up into the air and landing, of course, on a witch, but landing in a weird space and then taking the weird yellow brick road wherever this goes. And we're all about to have our houses of love and life thrown up into the air. And who knows where it's going to land. And who knows what this new road's going to look like. So just be prepared. Wow, that was a sign. Thanks for being with us. Hi, Vibe. You have anything left to say, Craig? Is you the standing channeler?
Just standing channeler. You know, show love, spread love right now. Be open to other people's perspectives and be open to receiving love and receiving information. I think that's very important right now. And always love yourself and put forth that energy towards yourself first so that you can be the best you that you can be.
Because if you're smart enough, you love enough, then you darn well know you'll get there.
Boom.
High vibe.
Good night.